everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome back. This is going to be the second video in our year of videos for homework. Today we did lesson 1, session 3, sorry. And it was rounding to the nearest hundred. So this lesson only focused on rounding to the nearest hundred. Yesterday we only focused on rounding to the nearest 10. Tomorrow is going to be a review of rounding both to the nearest 10 and rounding to the nearest 100. Our quiz for this is going to be on Monday. So make sure you review the homework videos and the homework sheets that are going home for our quiz on Monday. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with our lesson today. Today our lesson started on page 19. So this is number 1. It says the number 684 is between which two hundreds? Circle the two hundreds on the number line. Okay, so we start with our number 684. I'm just going to write it over here so it's a little bigger. Now, when we are rounding to the newest hundreds, we look to see what number is in the hundreds place. The number that's in the hundreds place is this 6. So that's where I'm going to be rounding. So because there is a 6 in the hundreds place, that is going to be your starting number on your number line. 6, and it's in the hundreds, 600. So that means 600 is going to be our starting number. Now, our ending number is going to be 100 more. So 100 more than 600 is going to be 700. So the way that I talk to the kids in class about finding a starting number and an ending number, it helps us figure out the two numbers that it's going to be between. It's either going to be between a certain number for starting and a certain number for ending. So when you hear me say starting number, that's what I mean. And when you hear me say ending number, that's what I mean. So that's the way we use to find out what two numbers is going to be between. So these are the two numbers you will circle. Now, let's go to number 2. Number 2 says, what is the halfway number between the two hundreds you circle? So halfway number is the number that's going to be in the middle of those two numbers. So what number is in the middle of 600 and 700? Well, that number is going to be right here, and it is going to be 650. 650. Okay? And how do we know it's 650? Well, between any two hundreds is going to be 5 tens. 5 tens is always going to be between any two hundreds. That's always going to be your halfway, 5 tens. And 5 tens, when we say 5 tens as a number, it is 50. So 650. Okay? Let's go ahead and go to number 3. So number 3 says, what is 684 rounded to the nearest 100? Okay, so let's go ahead and figure that out. So this number line is kind of on the small side, so I'm gonna draw it a little bigger so that it's easier for us to see where our numbers are gonna go. I'm gonna put it on this side over here. So I'm just taking this part and making it bigger over here. Okay, same thing. So this is going to be 600. And this ending number is going to be 700. All right, and then in the middle, our halfway number, of course, is 650. So starting with our first number they gave us for number 3, 684. So looking at our number in the hundreds place is 600, so that lets me know it's going to be between 600 and 700. So then I asked my kids a question. Is 684 greater than 650? If so, greater than numbers go on this side of the number line? Or is it going to be on less than 650? If so, less than numbers go on this side of the number line. So they'll say it is greater than, so that means it's going to be on this side of the number line. So I just put it on the number line. Now, I asked the question, is it going to round up to 700 or down to 600? And they'll say it's going to round up to 700 because it is closer to 700 than it is to 600. So that means we're going to draw our arrow rounding up to 700, and I will circle 700 for my answer. And that means the answer for number 3 is going to be 700. Okay, let's go to number 4. Number 4 asks, what is 694 rounded to the nearest hundred? Well, that number also has a 6 in the hundreds place. So that tells me again, it's going to fall between 600 and 700. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to ask the same question. Is 694 greater than 650? Because that's our halfway point. Or is it less than 650? And then they would say it is greater than 650. So since it is greater than 650, we're going to put it on, I'm going to put it on this side of the number line. I'm going to put it right after 684 since it is greater than that as well. Right there. So then I asked the question, well, is it going to round up to 700 or is it going to round down to 600? And they'll say it is closer to 700, so it's going to round up to 700. So my arrow is going to go up to 700, and 700 is going to be my answer. And I'm going to put that on my line for number 4. Okay, let's go to number 5. Number 5 says, what is 674 rounded to the nearest hundred? So we have 600, we have a 6 in the hundreds place again. So again, it's going to be on the same number line between 6 and 700. So we have 674. Let's ask our same question. It's the same process. Once you learn the process of doing the number line, doing your starting number, your ending number, then you put your halfway number in the middle. Next step would be, is it greater than the halfway number? Is it less than the halfway number? Then it depends on what you're saying. If it's greater, it's going to round up to the larger number. If it is less than, it's going to round down to the smaller number. So that's the same steps. We ask ourselves the same questions over and over and over. Once you get in a routine of asking those same questions and following that same path, it's going to come natural and easy. Okay, so let's go to the number 674. Next step, is it greater than 650? Is it less than 650? It's going to be greater than 650. So since it is greater, I'm going to put it on this side of the number line. 674. Okay, now, next step, is it going to round up to 700 or is it going to round down to 600? Well, because it is greater than a halfway point, it is going to round up to 700. So the answer for that one is going to be 700 as well. Okay. Number 6. Number 6, I believe, let's see. All right. I was trying to get it to where I wouldn't have to erase the numbers, but I think I might have to. Or I'm just gonna write it on the side right here. I'm just gonna put number 6 right here, guys. Okay, so number 6 says, let me grab my book right quick so that I can see. So number 6 says, what is 624 rounded to the nearest hundred? So they gave us 624. Okay, so let's write 624. Okay, now when I look at 624, first thing I notice is that the 6 is in the hundreds place. So that means it's going to fall between 600 and 700. Now, let's ask ourselves the question. Is it greater than 650 or is it less than 650? And for this one, it is actually the first one that is going to be less than 650. So it's gonna go on the less than side, which is smaller than 650. So I'm gonna put it here. Okay, so now we go to our next question, next step. Is it going to round down to 600 or is it going to round up to 700? Well, it is closer to 600, so it's going to round down. So I'm going to draw my arrow going down to 600. And the answer for that one is going to be 600. Again, this is number 6 because it's not on my board, and if I move it up, I'll have to erase the numbers. So I put number 6 over here. Okay, so that is it for the first part of this sheet. Let's go ahead and go to the next part of this sheet. If you need to pause and review or look at again and see what I've done, you can do that. But we're gonna move on to the next part of the sheet, which is the back part of the page, which is page 20. Okay, so this is number 7. Number 7 says, answer the questions below to round 377 to the nearest 100. Okay, so we're rounding 377 to the nearest 100. Okay, so A says the number 377 is between which two hundreds? So first of all, first thing I do is start with my number line. I'm going to draw my number line, and then I'm going to draw my line for my starting number, and I'm going to draw my line for my ending number. Now, next step would be to go to my number and see what number is in the hundreds place since I'm rounding to the nearest 100, and that is the number 3. So that tells me what my starting number is going to be, because the 3 is in the hundreds place. That would mean my starting number is going to be 300. Okay, and then my ending number is just going to be 100 more than my starting number. So since it's 300, 100 more than 300 is 400. All right, so we have now answered A, between which two hundreds. That would be 300 and 400. So we just put that on the line. All right, let's go to B. B says, what number is halfway between these two hundreds? So again, halfway numbers are always going to have between two hundreds 5 tens in it. So 5 tens is 50. So since it is 300, next would be 350. Halfway is 350. All right. And I must say, I'm gonna just stop right here and say, my kids today with the hundreds, they did really, really well in class. I was extremely proud of how quickly they picked up rounding to the nearest 100. They picked that lesson or that skill up very quickly today. So when I'm saying this, they probably already writing this because they were moving like really quickly with this today. So B says, what number is halfway between these two hundreds? We wrote it right here, 350. Okay, let's go to C. C says, is 377 less than or greater than the halfway number? So that's our next step. Well, let's put our number on the line. So, is 377 greater than 350 or is it less than 350? Well, it is going to be greater than. So it's going to go on this side of the number line. So we said it is greater than, and that's what we're going to put for our answer, greater than. Okay, let's go to D. Will you round up or down? Let's figure that out. So, is it going to round up to 400 or is it going to round down to 300? Well, since it's closer to 400, it's going to round up to 400. So we're going to put round up. All right, let's go to E. He says, what is 377 round to the nearest hundred? Well, 377 round to the nearest hundred is going to be 400 because we have it right here. So 400 on the line. And then that is going to be it for number 7. And we are going to move on to number 8. So I'm going to have to erase this so that I can move on. Again, if you need to pause the video. Okay, looking at number 8. Number 8 says the table below shows the miles between U.S. cities. Round each distance to the nearest 100 miles. Okay, so we have some cities, we have the distance in miles, and we have the distance to the nearest 100 miles. So that is telling us we are going to be rounding to the nearest 100, which is what they told us in our directions. So for Phoenix and Las Vegas, their distance in miles is 292, and they want us to round that to the nearest 100. So first thing I'm going to do is always start with my number line. Then I'm going to put my line for my starting number and my ending number. So let's go to our next step, which is going back to our number and seeing what number we have in the hundreds place. Well, I have a 2 in the hundreds place. That 2 tells me it is 200, so that is going to be my starting number, 200. Okay, now, the ending number is going to be 100 more than 200. That's going to be 300. Now we're going to move to the next step, which is finding our halfway number. What is halfway between 200 and 300? Well, that is going to be 250. Okay, so now we can go ahead and put our number on the number line. So 292, is it going to be greater than 250 or is it going to be less than 250? It is going to be greater than, so it's going to go here. Okay, so now we ask ourselves the question, is it going to round up to 300 or is it going to round down to 200? Well, since it's closer to 300, we're going to round it up to 300. So now we know the answer to the distance for Phoenix and Las Vegas is going to be 300. Okay, let's go to the next cities, which is Los Angeles and San Francisco. So their distance in miles is 386. So let's round that to the nearest 100 mile. And the first step we're going to do is always start with your number line. Okay, next step is to go back to our number, look to see what number we have in the hundreds place, and that is going to be a 3. So that 3 is in the hundreds place, so that tells me my starting number is 300. My ending number is going to be 100 more than that, which is going to be 400. Okay, so halfway between 300 and 400 is going to be our halfway number of, remember 5 tenths is going to be in there, which is 50, so 350. All right, so now let's go ahead and see where our number is going to be at on our number line. So we're going to ask the question, is 386 greater than 350 or less than 350? Well, it is greater than 350, so it's going to go on this side of the number line. Okay, so now we go to our last step of asking, is 306 going to round up to 400 or is it going to round down to 300? Well, since it's closer to 400, it is going to round up to 400. So now we know the answer for Los Angeles and San Francisco is going to be 400. Okay, that is it for number 8. And then we're going to go ahead and move on to number 9. I'm going to erase this, but if you need to pause, again, pause. Okay, looking at number 9. So number 9 says, which of these numbers could it be? Here are the clues. So we have to figure out which of these numbers the clues are telling us about. So let's go ahead and do this step by step. So let's start with the first thing. So the first thing, before I even read any clues, I'm going to set up my number line. Remember that number line is always going to be first. I'm going to put my starting line and my ending line. Okay, so let's start with the first clue. The first clue says the number is between two hundreds, 500 and 600. So those are the 200s it's going to be between. So those are the 200s I'm going to put on my number line. My starting number is going to be 500, and my ending number is going to be 600. Okay, so we have done the first clue. Now, let's look at these. We're going to look at our number that is in the hundreds place. This one is a 5. So that tells me it is going to fall between 500 and 600. So far, this number is still good, 525. Let's look at our next number. This one has a 5 in the hundreds place. So that tells me it's going to fall between 500 and 600. So 575, or 575 is still good. Let's go to 501. In the hundreds place, we have a 5. So that tells me it's going to fall between 500 and 600. Okay, so 501 is still good. Let's go to 650. Well, in the 100 place, there's a 6. So that means this number has a starting number of 600, but it's going to have an ending number of 700 because we have to go 100 more. So automatically, we know this number is not going to be one of my numbers. So far we have taken away one of the numbers and we're down to 3. Good job. Let's keep moving. So it says the next clue, the number is greater than halfway. Okay, so let's figure out our halfway number because we haven't put that on our number line yet. So what number is halfway between 500 and 600? That is going to be 550. Okay, so they said the number has to be greater than our halfway number. So let's look at our first number, 525. Is that greater than 550 or is it less than 550? Well, we know that that is going to be less than 550 because it's actually going to go about here on our number line. So automatically we know that this could not be our choice because it has to be greater than the halfway number. Let's go to our next number, 575. Let's ask the question. Is 575 going to be greater than 550 or is it going to be less than 550? Well, we know that 575 is going to be greater than, and it's going to be on this side of the number line. So this one is greater than. So far, 575 is still good. We don't have to cross that one out. Let's go to our next number, which is 501. Okay, so let's ask the question. Is 501 going to be greater than 550? Or is it going to be less than 550? Well, 501 is right after 500, so we know automatically that is going to be less than, and it's going to fall right around here. So it is on the less than side, so I know that 501 could not be my answer because it tells me the number is greater than the halfway. So far, only one of the numbers is that. So we have just finished that clue and we have crossed out 2 more numbers. We have 1 number left, but we're going to keep doing the rest of the clues just to make sure that we have the right number. So let's go to the last clue. It says, you will round up to round this number to the nearest 100. You will round up to round this number to the nearest 100. So let's round up to round this number to the nearest hundred. So if I round this up, the nearest hundred is 600, and this is our final number. It says, what is the number? Circle the answer. That is 575, and we just did that clue. And that is going to be it for number 9. Okay, let's go to our final number, which is going to be number 10. So number 10 says, what is 999 rounded to the nearest hundred? Okay, this one can be a little tricky, but hey, we're in this together. We're gonna solve it together. So let's go ahead and start with the first thing we always start with, a number line. So let's go ahead and do that. And our number line is gonna have our starting line and our ending line. So let's start with our number 999. In the hundreds place, there is a 9 there. So since there's a 9 in the hundreds place, our starting number is going to be 900. Now, what is 100 more than 900? Well, that is going to be 1,000. And you might say, well, Ms. Newman, that is not 100 anymore. No, it's not 100 anymore, but that is 100 more than 900. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with our halfway number. What number is halfway between 900 and 1,000? That would be 950. Because remember, 5 tens, 50 is going to be included in our halfway number. All right, so let's look at our number 999. We're going to ask ourselves the question, is 999 greater than 950, or is it less than 950? Well, that answer is going to be greater than. So it's going to go on this side of the number line. All right, now, no, I didn't put it exactly where it's supposed to be, but I just want you to notice that it's going to be on that side. Of course, it's going to be closer to the 1,000, but this is not for like accuracy, like exactly where it's supposed to go. Just letting us see that it's going to be on the greater than side. But if you want to move it closer to the 1,000, you are more than welcome to do that. Maybe I should do the same. I'm going to do the same. Okay, so I'm going to move it here. It would actually be here. All right. Now, so next question is it going to round up to 1,000 or is it going to round down to 900? Well, it is closer to 1,000. It's actually one number away. So we are going to round it up to 1,000. And our answer is going to be 1,000. Okay? That is it for homework on today. If you have any questions or concerns, make sure you send me a message on either PBIS app, or you can put it in the Google Classroom comments, or you can put it on the YouTube comments, or in the YouTube comments. I answer all 3 of those. That is it for today. I will see you. No, I will not see you on tomorrow because there is no homework on tomorrow. We do not have homework on review days. Tomorrow is a review day, so we will not have homework, and I won't see you on Monday because Monday is quiz day. So the next day I will see you is on Tuesday. Have a great rest of your week and enjoy your weekend as well. Bye.